Usually folks start to trickle in right about now. So welcome everybody as you start to trickle in. My name is Bridget Legault. I'm community manager for Rainforest down in Calgary. We have Amber Rowden, our community storyteller here. We have Lan and Gail from Rainforest Steering Committee in Edmonton, and there's probably others that I can't see now on my screen. So I can't stay for the whole hour, unfortunately, today. So I'll pass it over to Lan and Amber in just a moment. But before we do, I just want to make a quick mention and acknowledge the all of the lands that we all work and play upon, including the ones you see here, but also including ones wherever else you may be located, but specifically the Treaty 7 and Treaty 6 territories. Instead of reading this verbatim today, I'm just going to make a quick mention to a new channel in our Slack workspace called Truth and Reconciliation. There is starting to be a lot of great resources in there for ways in which you can educate and take on training for your teams or yourselves around truth and reconciliation. And I've just posted like a long list of different Indigenous companies and organizations that you can support as part of this work we do for truth and reconciliation, and especially around entrepreneurship. So in saying that, I'll pass it over to Lan to give us a overview of the rainforest.
Hello, everyone. I am proudly dialing in from Treaty 6, land of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux. So Bridget, you may want to help me with the pronunciation, Nakota, Seal, and the Métis, and Chris Lerohl, my good friend, is dialing in from the same territory as well. So welcome everyone to Lunch Without Lunch. Most of you here will know that Rainforest Alberta, we are a movement, and it is a place for everyone, a very inclusive community for all of us, innovators, doers, dreamers, connectors, and builders. And together with me, I also have Gail, my partner in the Edmonton zone. So Gail, I'm sure everybody knows you already. So next slide, please. There's the video.
What does it take to realize an idea, or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
Awesome! What a great video. And if I'm not mistaken, Bridget, Amber, this video is also made by one of our former Rainforest members, right?
It is, and it is also open for the use of everyone in the community. So it is on our YouTube channel. Please feel free to share within your own organizations as well. Thanks, Lan.
Excellent, and that's fundamental. That building that trust, and ever since Rainforest Alberta came to be here in Alberta, that trust is paramount, and we have seen that things get done quicker when there is trust. So we are based on the 6 pillars here, as you can see, and culture is one of the heavyweights, and that is where all of your contribution comes to play. You are part of this culture. So thank you very much for participating. Next one, please. So a bit of a tip around making the most of the lunch without lunch. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Connect with each other through direct messaging. Put your camera on so we see everyone smile. Feel free to ask questions. And there is a Rainforest Slack group. Once you sign the contract, you have access to the Slack group, and it's a lot of great discussions there and a lot of information sharing. So that's a great place to share, get some information, what's going on in the community. And then check out #lunch notes to capture today's chat. I like that. Is that a new channel? That's a channel in the Slack group, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. And then we have the recording here. So that's on YouTube. So that's awesome. Next one, please. And with that, I'll pass it on to Amber to introduce Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Len. All right, so I'm very excited to introduce Chris from Uproot. So Chris Lerohl is a business entrepreneur with his current role as the co-founder and CEO of Honest Dumplings. He has 10 years of extensive experience in market research, strategic planning, and business development. At Chris's former role of business development manager at Tech Edmonton, he was able to leverage his diverse experience in data analysis and process modeling. Chris has both his M.Eng in electrical engineering and MBA from the University of Alberta. So today he's going to take us on a virtual tour of Uproot, and I'm very excited to pass it over to Chris.
Yay, Chris.
No, thanks for the introduction, Amber. I'm pretty excited to be here and kind of share a little bit more on the Uproot story. And it's nice to meet you, Bridget. And thanks a lot, Lan, who I used to work with for a long time at Tech Edmonton there. So, I guess I was just thinking maybe for those who are a little less familiar with Uproot, maybe I'll pull from kind of the intro of our current investment deck, which I think says a little bit about who we are and why we're doing what we're doing, and then I'll give you a quick kind of tour of the space that I pre-recorded, and happy to answer questions throughout. And if anybody has any, feel free to shout. So, okay. So can everybody see the presentation there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Uproot Food Collective is a platform to maximize a food brand's potential without compromise. So we see ourselves as a way to help scale and grow food companies. Many people don't know, but there's 60,000 specialty food companies in North America. Those are pretty much everything that you don't see on the grocery shelf, things that are niche products, specialized products, kind of better quality products typically. It's actually one of the fastest growing segments in the food industry, 3 times faster than traditional products. And actually over the last, since 2018, it's grown by 10.3% per year. So it's actually a massive market. And for many people who don't know either, I think the food industry in North America is about just over $1 trillion. So it's huge. But when you start a food company, it's really easy. And many people start in farmers market and it's super simple. But when you go to scale, that's when it really becomes difficult. It truly is one of the more challenging industries due to the way things are set up today, to the point that actually 89% of food companies fail, or 89% of food products, fail, even products by the big guys. And the reason for this is retail grocery doesn't really support food innovation, I think, in a very effective way at this point in time. And really product integrity suffers because they force you to kind of build for uniformity in price. And so you start out with this amazing creative product that you love, and then slowly over time you beat it down into a commodity item because everybody tells you cheaper. And because retail grocery is full of products that people that are full of products which legacy producers really own that shelf space. So they pay what's called listing fees, and then they own that shelf space. And so that really prevents innovation, prevents little guys from getting in there. And so ultimately, I guess from our belief is that premium food innovation doesn't really fit into the mass grocery market. And similar to any technology, there really is a valley of death that food companies face. And so you start out in the farmer's market, really easy at the start, and you're probably the only time you're profitable is you start there because you don't have overhead, you're in your house, You don't really need a bunch of branding, equipment, all of that kind of stuff. So you make money. But when you factor out your time and the cost of markets, you're probably making only like $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 an hour. You're definitely working hard for the revenue you get. And then if you start having success, then you say, I'm going to get into groceries. So you start, you get a facility and you start getting staff. You need to start spending on marketing. You need packaging that represents your product because somebody's not physically there to do it. You need food safety systems, listing fees, and you need to get HACCP food safety program, CFIA compliance, bigger facility, bigger equipment, all these kind of things, all with the hope of becoming a unicorn and 11% succeed. And all of that is a really, really big challenge because of the regulations, the way the industry set up with giving your margins to the stores, to the distributors, to the brokers, and all of that. I won't go too much into this. If there's questions later, I can kind of address that. And so we start to say, well, is there a better way to do this? Can we create a business model or platform that enable a passionate food entrepreneur to remain profitable without being a unicorn? Does everybody have to be massive or stuck in the farmer's market? Well, sorry, this poll is jumping in my way here. And so really Uproot is a platform for success at any scale. So we like to think of ourselves that we work with emerging food cos with compelling founder stories, amazing products, and help them maximize their brand potential without compromising and commoditizing their products. And really we do this through our direct to consumer channel, which is the Uproot Food Store, which has distribution to 85% of the population in Alberta. We do it with both our physical location now and then our online delivery and pickup system. And then we do also provide distribution, production. We have facilities, we can do co-packing, all of these kind of things for food companies. And then we have our own brands, Honest Dumpling, South Island Pie, and Natural Kitchen Delights, that really, because we're building them, we're scaling them, we're growing them, we're putting all the systems, processes, and capability to have them succeed, that we're able to structure things because we have the right, I think, cultural and mindset, structure things to make sure that our vendors succeed. So that in a bit of a nutshell is Uproot. And now I'll move on to the tour unless there's any questions on that. Okay, just share screen, sorry. Okay, perfect. And I'm clearly a rookie at doing online videos. So you guys got a nice, not landscape filmed video here. But this is, we'll just get it started here. So this is outside our store and our physical location where we have the production and everything, where you come in. And what's amazing is we now have, I think, 85 local food brands products, and I think and some from outside of the province as well, but all Canadian. And it's pretty amazing. I think there's way more food innovation and amazing products and companies than anybody realized. I know when we started this journey, I wasn't aware of as many, even though I've been came out of the farmers market, but I had no idea how much there was across Alberta. So this is our physical store in Edmonton. It's really small footprint, but it's amazing how much we actually can push through there in terms of volume. These are kind of just pickup orders, and this is where we do a lot of the packing. Sorry, if it's a little bit blurry, I'll just pause it there. But this is where we pick, pack, store product, and then we load them up in vans and then do the distribution to everywhere from Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Grant Prairie, Fort McMurray, Red Deer, and kind of all of the smaller communities within vicinity of those locations. It's pretty packed in here at this point. We're probably outgrowing this from that perspective. This is just overflow product, boxes, all of that kind of stuff. We've seen a really significant increase from seasonality right now in sales, so it's a bit more of a mess than maybe it normally is. Up here is kind of our office area. This is where the staff take their lunch, and the our team where we're really running the e-commerce and the HACCP food safety program, all of that stuff. So we have quite a few people on the team that are in the office. Nobody knew I was filming this when I did at the time, so they were all a little surprised. That there is Jamie. He's the founder of South Island Pie Co. And really instrumental in the company. This year, actually, you guys probably familiar is where Bessie Box has their Edmonton location. So they rent some space from us, and really we're helping them to land in Edmonton. Down here is a little bit messy, but I think it's just interesting to kind of see, because of all the equipment we have, we really have like a maintenance area. There's a lot of tools, a lot of equipment. We have a lot of things that break down. On the left there was mostly legacy stuff from probably farmers markets and that, and just storage for things for us to be able to do shows. This here is where we store like boxes, overflow, dry goods, all of that kind of stuff. And then because we're a HACCP food safety inspected facility, we have a bit of a kind of change room where there's the jackets. Everybody stores their steel toe boots that they keep here. Little office there, and then just more overflow kind of frozen goods. Sorry, this is maybe really quick, but we'll get through this and then I can take any questions. So we're now headed into the back of the facility. There's a billion boxes at the time that I filmed this. We're a little understaffed right now, but those were some dumplings in there. And this is where you go into the back, and then there's hair nets, beard nets, shoe covers, all of those kind of things because of that HACCP food safety program. If you did see at the very start, I was wearing a jacket and all the gear, so I can just walk in at this point, but we have this really separation between production and the back, and you got to go through the foot bath to get into the back. This here is the wash bay. This is how I know if you had a food company in the past, this would be your favorite part of the kitchen, because you can just wheel your equipment in there and wash it. And then this is kind of where the cleaning and all of that stuff is. Sorry, I'm spinning around pretty quick here. This is all ingredients, and every single thing in it, and really has, sorry, wanted to catch that, has a lot code on it. So every single ingredient in here, we track from when we receive it, the condition it was in, the storage, the temperatures, and you could take any bag of dumplings or pies or chocolate, and we could tell you all of the ingredients, when we got them, who the suppliers were, they're all approved, and show and demonstrate that they've been maintained in proper quality and keep right to the end. That's Hannah on our team. But yeah, back to kind of the cleaning area, just some equipment storage. This here is the fridge. So we have quite a bit of capacity to expand if we got some proper shelving. We have beer on tap here all the time because we do use beer in the pie. These are a bunch of doughs getting ready for production, and they all have their lot codes on them as well. So anything that's in process is also tracked and has that traceability to it. Going in here, this is a bit of storage room. This is where a lot of the packaging, boxes, corrugate, all of that store. We have quite a bit for our brands. We're at the point now where to get like rotogravure, proper printing, where it makes it cheaper for your pouches. You're buying 16,500 of each SKU. That's many units to really justify it. And at any time, we're probably sitting on $30,000-$40,000 of just packaging alone at our scale. And we have a sea can out back that actually has even more overflow. This here is all of our like dishes, and I don't think I zoom in here, but the knives and all of that, every single shift have to be inspected before and after to make sure that we don't have any metal filings or anything in our product as well. This here is the shipping receiving bay. All the chemicals and stuff have to be kept out of the kitchen and have to be kept in a separate cabinet. So they're down below here. All of this stuff has to be maintained, and actually can't open the bay door without those plastic flaps down. This here is the freezer. At any time now, we're usually sitting on like $150 to $250,000 of product at this point to justify the production runs and make it fit. Everything is lot coded as well. There's a lot of dumplings and pies. So if there's a apocalyptic event, We can definitely have a feast until the freezers thaw and we lose it all. But this is also a nightmare all the time, because if your freezer goes out, there's a lot of money on the line. This here is kettles where we make the fillings for pies and dumplings. We have a pie machine that we got out of Australia that produces, let us go from producing like 800 a day to when we get it fully automated, about 3,000 pies an hour. It's pretty impressive. Right now, I think they're making some fillings. This is our new oven we got, and with the dumpling line here, they're producing. We have a semi-automated machine that does about just over 1,000 an hour. I don't know if I turn to the side here or not. Oh, I don't. But yeah, we sheet the dough, run it in the dumpling machine. This here is our ingredient freezer and interim processing freezer. So these are all dumplings that were produced that day that are going to be freeze. We produce about 8,000 dumplings in a single day. So it's pretty amazing how many get frozen at once. There's some overflow products here from the store as well. And then the dumplings get bagged and stored for packaging later, unless we're able to package right away. But that's not always the case. These are the NKD bars stored as well. Sorry, I'm moving way too fast in this. But we have all the different kinds of bars and boxes and all of that in here. Just take a breath. Yeah, this is just the dumpling line that I mentioned. So they're sheeting and then make the sheets, cut the circles, and then those get fed into the dumpling machine, which they weren't running right at that time. And there's our second dumpling machine, so they can kind of move, and that's about it on the video. Whoop. Okay.
Awesome.
So hopefully that wasn't too fast.
No, that was great. Thank you so much, Chris. That was really awesome. We have a couple questions in the chat. There's one from Brent. Like Bessie Box, has Uproot considered a Calgary location, maybe a store within a store? So maybe within Calgary's farmer market, like the New West location.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's right now we're in the process of raising some capital, and I think one of our priorities would be to get a physical location in Calgary. I think probably about a third of the brands that we carry are now from Calgary, or maybe even more. And we do weekly deliveries there, and we're starting to increase that frequency here with the volume that's kind of happening right now. But yeah, I would love to do this store within a store thing. I think would be ideal. We're about to kind of pilot something in Edmonton that we'll be launching at the end of this month in that kind of concept, and see how it really goes. And then if it's successful, we'd love to put one in a Calgary. The other thing that we do is we do pickups for our company. So we'll, like on our POs, we'll charge a small fee and then actually go pick it up, so that companies in Calgary don't have to try and get their product to Edmonton. And that I think really helps a lot of them out.
Awesome. There's another question from Brent as well. So he said, supply chain. I suspect most ingredients are local, but are there items, maybe boxes, that your collection of food companies had difficulty sourcing, long delays?
Yeah, so actually Ray's gonna be giving a presentation on a conference here about that in the next couple of weeks for the Made in Alberta Award conference. And she's gonna get a little more deeper into this, but yeah, we have a pretty like big mix of like what's local and what's not. A lot of things at our scale, like we can't be buying from the farmers market and stuff, because we need, like, because of the HACCP food safety program. And HACCP stands for hazard analysis critical control points. Because of that, we have to have certificates of authenticity and a bit of a more robust kind of supplier assurances, including like they need to be able to tell us if there was recall with their ingredients, that they know which ones they sent us, so that we can then do a recall if needed. So that makes it really challenging. A lot of the stuff that we get definitely is from Alberta. I think all of our meat is, and our flour's from Manitoba. We're always looking to kind of find stuff, but a lot of the challenges a lot of the smaller kind of local players just have a higher cost, and it makes it prohibitive to use, especially as you're getting to this volume. You're really trying to drive costs down. But that being said, we never sacrifice quality for it, for price. Like we always even do, if we're making a change to say our pastry or to something, it's like we do blind taste tests and make sure that nobody can, the product doesn't degrade. Because I think a big part of what we built in our brand and our story, and quite frankly what we care about, is our product doesn't diminish over time.
That's awesome. There's a comment from Eva: getting hungry watching all the food being prepped. Absolutely. It's perfect for lunch hour.
Yeah, and I see another question there. Do we run products for other companies? It's something that we're starting to do. We actually have a Little Bear Gelato moving into our space. Starting I think this week or next week, he's going to be moving in here. He's going to be doing his own production runs. But we aren't really that commissary kitchen that takes in lots of companies because of the hassle food safety program. It's really difficult to manage a whole bunch of companies, and if they violate our program, then that actually puts our program at risk. So it makes it a lot harder. As we get bigger, we're looking to do more kind of co-packing and that type of thing, but really our goal and our aim is more that full vertical integration. So we're actually looking at more, how do we make mergers, acquisitions of companies and really bring them in-house. So all of our brands are all under the same company, and we're constantly looking at, hey, if you're one of the best producers in Alberta, how do we bring you in and make you part of Uproot and integrate even deeper and in a stronger way than just co-packing? Because we think there's a lot more opportunity to leverage everything from that business aspect, the marketing aspect, the production, the distribution, the sales, all of that stuff. And by doing a full acquisition, you get to really experience that more.
There's a question from Peter. How much capital is needed to set one up?
Oh God, to get to where we are now, we've raised over $1 million, and we've got about the same probably amount in debt throughout the years. So you're looking at a couple million to get this. Now to make another smaller scale like Uproot food store micro retail, that would be a lot less, obviously. That kind of thing it wouldn't be that expensive, but the whole ordeal and everything, like everything, even from the food safety program, like you can't underappreciate the effort and time and the money that it took to put that in place. Like it was took us over a year with at least someone full-time at it all the time. It took us probably a year to fail our first audit, and then another few months to just to be able to pass, and then that's something like we have a full-time food safety person here all the time.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions for Chris? Feel free to unmute or drop them in the chat.
Can you hear me okay? It's Pete.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great presentation, Chris. Love to meet you. And I'd like to know if the food industry, the way it stands today, are all the safety and the rules and all of the things that are in place, are they there to stop you guys from getting new products into the marketplace, or are they, do you know what I mean? Are they there to prevent new businesses from getting into their space, or are they there to really keep us safe?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I think it's something I ponder often. I think they're there to keep us safe, and I don't think it's going to go backwards, even if we wanted it to. It's hard to be like, let's make less food safety compliance. I think that being said, there's not enough done to support companies to scale and grow and put in those systems, because and especially in a place like Alberta, and most people don't know, is we actually have one of the most underperforming value-added food sectors in Canada. I think we produce something like 30% of raw commodity, and then we're like 6% or 7% of value added here. And a big part of that is that it's because of the nature of the regulations, it's like provincial falls under one regulations and federal falls under another. And so when you're in Alberta, you naturally have a market disadvantage. So if I was in Ontario and we existed in Ontario, we could sell our products to 16 or 14 million people before we need to take that next level of food safety systems and programs. And right now in Alberta, it's like we're to get the 85% of the population here, like we're going all the way up to Fort Mac to Lethbridge. And for to be able to get to 3 million people or whatever it is, or 3.5 million people within our range. And that makes us have a fundamental disadvantage because it's very hard to be an individual brand or individual product and be profitable with that market size in Alberta when you could get to that profitability in another jurisdiction. So I actually, where I would like to see if regulations changed, it shouldn't even necessarily be on like borders. It should be on like, once you hit X number of sales or the reach of your product requires you to have a better food safety program or safety system. Because I know a company that's like Medicine Hat Meat Traders. They can't sell to grocery stores that are 30 minutes from them because it's into the Saskatchewan border, but they can sell all the way up to Fort McMurray. And that's just ludicrous to me. Like what's the difference and how does that manage just because of a border? And I think that's where regulations need to change, is like, what is the risk for the amount of like distribution and customers that you have? But I look at my experience putting in the HACCP food safety system, and it was hard because we came from producing out of our house. But it is amazing to have it now. And once you got it, it's like you can't think any other way. And it's like when I walk into a restaurant and you walk into the back and you got to put on a hairnet or change your shoes or something. It's like, oh my God, this is insane to me now at this point. And not that everybody needs this standard, but the level of risk is really important. And we've been caught up in a recall of our onions when last summer, like not this summer, that happened the one before, when the onions out of the US had salmonella. And we had all the temperature records showing that we had kill steps twice, that we controlled the product, we had everything separated and everything good. And we didn't even have to do a recall as a result. If we didn't have our system, we would have had a recall. And it was really scary because that was our first, we had just landed like 50 Sobeys Safeway stores and got into them. And then if our first order had been recalled, it like, I just couldn't even imagine what that would have been like. So I hope I answered your question there, but.
Well, you did, and thank you. And it seems to me, and maybe I missed that part of your presentation, that the service software-wise you might provide is that clearinghouse for safety regulations and auditing and all of those sorts of things. There might be some value there if that hasn't already baked into your plan.
Yeah, like we use a software called Icicle that's based out of Vancouver actually, and it's phenomenal. And anybody that was looking to do it, like we'd be more than happy to help them set up, and could even, if it was wanted us more involved, to like do a contract type work on something like that. But it's a big undertaking and it's not easy, and if nothing else, give some guidance. We're happy to do that to help someone to get there for sure.
Brent,
great presentation. Thank you.
Sorry, Brent, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question or?
I did. I'm kind of curious, Chris. You mentioned with regards to HACCP and chain of custody. Have you seen, this is kind of a technology group, and we like talking technology. So I know blockchain and laser etching on foods are certainly improvements that some people have been looking at. Have you seen some of those same improvements go from farm to table, like in what you've monitored?
Yeah, and I think once it's adopted by the big guys, and at some point here, it'll become table stakes, I think, for sure, down the road. I think right now they're like say our system, there's like customers can't see what we see, obviously, in the information and like where these ingredients came from and the condition. I think eventually that will happen, and I know there's people that are exploring that and developing stuff along those lines. it's particularly a big challenge. And part of that challenge too is like we see it on two sides. Like the food safety, like the HACCP food safety program with our production is amazing because it's like, oh, we have like lot codes on everything, and it's like I could tell you any information from either way. But then once it hits the Uproot food store, it's like now that traceability is kind of dropped, I guess, at that point to the direct to consumer. That being said, we would know like within a time frame, oh, these were the products and all of that, and be able to kind of guess who received something that had a problem. But there's no real strong integration between our e-commerce and our manufacturing, and I think that's something that like we want to develop down the road and we want to put in place. But like a lot of the a lot of it right now, and the whole way once it kind of gets to the retail consumer side, is it's just like FIFO, first in first out, and then your fingers are crossed, right? That's actually working. There's no scanning or anything, and I think there's definitely, that's something that's going to become more important and increase, but I haven't seen the right solution that's like economic enough for even like us to even go down something like that yet. I think at some point, like I know for us, like we want to develop that integration, and we use Shopify as a platform, but have that communication between, say, Shopify and Icicle to be able to say, hey, here's what's actually going out, and maintaining that traceability, because I think that would be game changing for the industry. And once some people do it, then the rest will have to follow.
Travis, I'll pass it to you.
These are great questions.
So we're working with a company out of Calgary. They're actually in algae growth, but he is working with the Edmonton Food Research Department there, just in Nisku.
Oh yeah, the Duke Food Processing Center. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know he's making cookies with the algae. Is that a product that would fit your guys' platform?
Yeah, for sure. And these are great questions, by the way. Yeah, like I think for us, and maybe I kind of talk about a little bit how we decide what we take. There's more demand than we have time to kind of get things set up at this point in time. But we get companies to kind of reach out, and then we have some forms for them to fill out, usually get some samples. Quality really matters to us. So it's like, are these cookies actually delicious? Is first and foremost what matters. And then it's like, what's the innovation and how different it is, how unique it is. And I think something like, if it's like a superfood cookie, very, very interesting for sure. And then I guess there's questions around that algae and everything. And is it like food safe, and have the studies been there and all of that to back it up and validate any kind of claims? And if those are there and you got a superfood cookie and it's delicious, then great. If it's not delicious and we're not going to sell that many unless it's like really amazing and there's a lot of customers that are going to get it. But we're always open to different products and unique products. And I think if they can get something that's good, that's a superfood, then something like that will fly for sure.
And do you have a spot to contact you guys other than just through your contact?
Yeah, I can drop my email here too. And then I'll drop the email for new vendors as well. I'll just make sure I get that right. And that would be the one to send the new vendors to. It doesn't actually, if I can't find it, you can send me an email, but then I'll pass you that email. Because we get kind of, at this point, we're probably getting a half a dozen kind of people reaching out every single week to us, but they're not just dropped. We're working our way through all of them. So
perfect, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, we have another question, and then maybe we can head into some breakout rooms. So from Sarah, how much automation equipment is feasible? Will that area increase?
Yeah, so yeah, there's only so much more room here. We're probably getting tapped out in a lot of different ways. Like even when we do peak sales and come into like Black Friday and that type of thing. And if you're looking to try Uproot and you want a good deal, wait till that time. But I'd encourage you to get it right away. But at that time, there's usually amazing deals, and just like frozen storage is a problem for us. Like we'll have to rent a freezer trailer here, that kind of thing, just to keep that piece there. We are definitely limited space. So we actually are developing another facility south of Edmonton at EIA at the airport there. And it is 18,000 square feet, much bigger. That will be fully CFIA compliant for meat. That's where some of the capital we're raising is to get that piece up and running. That will seriously increase our capability and ability to expand. We may be able to double what we're doing right now here with some automation, but you start adding in the fully automated dumpling line, and you add in the auto filler for the pie machine, and those could probably run. But then where do you even put that product? And because you're producing a lot more, and having that storage becomes a much bigger issue. So definitely this facility will be tapped out, but really what our intent then is to like make this one available to more emerging companies. So we're looking to, how do we maintain infrastructure so that somebody doesn't have to go and spend as much money, develop everything we did to get to this scale. They could come in here, start producing like Little Bear Gelato, who's a little bit earlier stage, and then he can scale. And when he's ready, then we would take him out to the next facility and bring him national. And that's really the kind of the model on the co-packing production side.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Really enjoyed that presentation, and thank you everyone for all of the engaging questions. We could probably go into a couple breakout rooms and keep the discussion going, or just meet new people, the magic of Rainforest. So we'll go into a couple breakout rooms, and then we will come back for some community announcements at 12:55. Create another one, and we'll be back here at 12:55.
Actually, like we were having a discussion with Chris in our last breakout room that actually would be really great discussion for the rest of the group here. It was sort of about like the support that he was getting from, or not getting from, provincial and federal political bodies. Would actually be a really good thing here if maybe we could come back to that after the next breakout room or something, and people could stay if they wish or wish not.
Yeah, for sure. We could even chat now about it.
Chris, you there?
Yeah, you bet. Sure, I have no problem. So I don't want to take over the conversation on this, but yeah, I was kind of just saying there's like no support from the province in all reality. There used to be some support a couple of years ago, and that's kind of changed completely. There used to be a program called the CAP program, and it was jointly funded by the feds and the province, and did a lot in terms of helping value-added sector. No company that I'm aware of has received an approval within the last 2 years that I know of, and it's particularly challenging on that front. They recently launched the Made in Alberta kind of sticker or whatever type thing, and that doesn't really do anything. Our customers know we're from Alberta, and the stores were already putting you in sections and identifying you as Alberta made and that kind of thing. So it doesn't really drive the needle. And then one of the challenges being a food company, and when you're growing, you're not going to be profitable. So you don't have a strong balance sheet. So debt financing is almost impossible. So there's a big gap in that side. The feds have created a couple new programs. Like I know WD, it's a priority, but there's also challenges with that and having the match capital and upfront and that kind of thing. We did get some support from WD with working with EIA and out at the new facility. So that's been pretty phenomenal, actually. Pretty excited about that. But I know that like the province used to have these market specialists, a role within the Alberta agriculture, and they would go out and just meet with companies and help advise them from like experienced people who actually had that like sales and distribution experience in their careers. And I know they got rid of that program, or got rid of the staff in that, and that was invaluable because it was free advice and really supportive. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what else in the past. Like I know Alberta Innovates had a new product and kind of research component We actually got one of those. That's where our gluten-free dumplings that we have recently launched came out of. But there's no programs I'm aware of right now for food companies. And even if they tell you, oh, you can apply in the general programs, we're not tech enough often to be considered part of that. So it's definitely, I think there's a fundamental kind of gap in the ecosystem in support for food companies. I think because we don't have IP, and that makes it really challenging. But I'll stop talking.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Maybe we'll just go straight into announcements, and then if anyone wants to stay on after one and stuff, I can open breakout rooms.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer too, if anybody wants and has questions or wants to know more about anything I've talked about too. So
that sounds great. Thank you so much, Chris, for being here. Appreciate it. And thank you everyone for all the conversation. I have a quick announcement. So just the link isn't quite ready yet, but save the date for November 16th at 4:30. We are hosting the Libby Podcast Awards, and actually Al Daldegan will be hosting them. So we invite all of you to join us to celebrate the wonderful work that all the volunteers do, the wonderful work that he does. And he made some pretty awesome awards for it. So yeah, there, I don't know if you can see him right now, but he's holding them up. So I'll have the link and share it with you once we have that all done, but save the date. It's going to be a lot of fun. And with that, I'm actually going to pass it over, Al, if you want to announce the podcast. Yeah.
If you didn't know, the Rainforest has had a podcast for quite some time. We just launched episode, I think, 138 on Tuesday, and we have a new show every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. And it's the Rainforesters interviewing the Rainforesters. So you should notice a different host every week, whenever possible. And we have a lot of interesting guests on there, and we talk about a lot of exciting things. Be sure to look back in the previous episodes. We've had some pretty cool shows that were really, really full of lots of great information. If you'd like to be a host, or you'd like to be a guest, or you'd like to be a sponsor, please reach out to Amber or myself or Brittany. Or Bridget, sorry, because we can get you signed up, and it's a lot of fun to do.
Okay.
Thank you, Al. Any other announcements? Jade.
Hey, hello, everyone. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Startup TNT Investment Summit tomorrow. There'll be 60 companies going after over $450,000. We handed out $1.4 million in the last summit to 7 companies. Chris can attest to it. He's received investment. If you want to ask him about the process and how we support the local companies and community here with over $4 million. So check it out. The Startup TNT link is in the chat, and we'd love to have you out there, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you, Jade. Looking forward to that. Anyone else have any announcements you'd like to share?
Startup TNT is definitely awesome.
The Rainforest Connector monthly session is going to be held on Tuesday. It's always the third Tuesday of the month. I'm trying to send the link, but you'll see it on the Rainforest site. Our topic is marketing. So marketing tech companies that exist in Alberta, as well as advice on how to market your tech company. Marketing in Alberta, tech and companies. And one of our speakers is Bitwide, which they actually are out of Calgary. They're focused in lead generation. And then there's, I think Bubble Up is the tech company in this space, as well as advice from people who have actively grown companies in Alberta and have experience in marketing and sales.
Awesome. Thank you, Gail. All right, any other announcements?
I don't think so.
No. All right, well, we have 4 minutes left, so we can just chat. I can go into some more breakout rooms. Just head out, you can stick around. I just thanks again to Chris for being here and for presenting. Really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and thank you everyone for coming and engaging. And Good to see all your faces.
I think today's meeting was very interesting, and that was a great presentation. And I almost think that Chris needs to go and do it right smack dab in the middle of Toronto and get it all ironed out and bring it back. And where there's lots of hungry mouths down there, I think.
That's really interesting. Oh, right, for volume. Where we started in our pre-meeting of the Rainforest, we were talking about some of the accelerators. And so, Chris, you know a lot about, through Tech Edmonton and the ecosystem, the new accelerators that exist, or that LAN actually is really helping lead. Do any of these accelerators fit in the food space? Are they reserved because social impact, greenhouse gas reduction? Can they help your food businesses?
I don't know. It's always checking a box that's not directly involving what you're doing, right? And I think that's one of the challenges. And whether it's raising the capital here or accelerators, anything like that, it's like, okay, well, we're an e-commerce play, we're a food manufacturer, we're direct to consumer, we're a bit of an accelerator ourselves, but we're not strong in any one of those kind of things, and we kind of fall through the cracks, I find, in general, along those like support systems or the ecosystem. And it's that's a particular challenge. And yet at the same time, like I can tell you, in the last year, we've put more than $1 million into local food companies here. You're driving that kind of success and then falling through the gaps is definitely a little bit I think there's a massive opportunity being missed in our region and in our province. And I think I don't know what the solution is, because I think those accelerators, it's hard to say we're a social kind of enterprise or social kind of side, or like, yeah, of course, you more local food you're doing, the less greenhouse gases, but it's always an ancillary kind of thing to us.
Maybe just more about positioning and, I don't want to say pivot because you're in a good spot, but skip the dishes is, it's Canadian, it's cool, it's tech, but not tech. So I think clearly you're on to something that has a lot of passion. So help us turn this passion to help grow your business. And thank you.
And the Canadian government hasn't been helpful to you, just to be straight, because they've allowed a lot of acquisition. So there's a bit of a monopoly in the food marketplace. So your number of locations that you can actually go shopping have been limited over those last several years. And that's, big players buy up big players to take some of the big players out of competition, and so, and then in terms of grocery locations, sometimes the grocery locations won't allow an organization like yours to even exist beside them as an alternative. Like, they force that as part of their leasehold arrangement. So there's a lot of predatory things that happen by these big companies. So I'm the fighter for small businesses.
Exactly, for the underdog, where we can do this.
Not
Friesen Brothers,
super dogs.
For super dogs, even better. Love that. Underdog was a super dog if you go back enough in the comic books.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, okay, all right. I got it. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm jumping on to another meeting, but awesome meeting today. Amber, hi, Amber. You did a great job again. So way to go.
Awesome, Amber. Thank you.